Unmute. Okay. Oop, message.
Good morning, everybody. I am going to ask everyone to mute unless you have a specific question. Just for simplicity's sake, I anticipate we'll have a couple more joining us here as we get going. So, listen, thanks to everyone who has who's been tagging along on these webinars. I've had a lot of fun doing them, and frankly, I've learned a lot as well, which has been great. Because it's always important to kind of keep re-educating yourself on anything like this. Today's going to be about something called Google Search Console. It's purposely at the end. The reason it's purposely at the end is because it's going to kind of build off a lot of the things that we've already learned about throughout this series here. So Google Search Console is a tool that's going to help you really fine-tune your strategy, really fine-tune your search strategy, your website, your organic Google search strategy. It can be overwhelming. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a ton of work that you can end up doing in something like this, but we're going to use some examples. We're going to try and make this simple. It's not necessarily something that you have to tackle all of this, even sitting here in our office and having a conversation about our own website, which I'm going to take you through our back end, our Google Search Console, and show you how it works. It made us even realize all of the changes that we can be making, because there's some really interesting information that exists here in your Google Search Console. And so it's going to apply a little bit differently to everybody. I know some of the businesses that each of us have, so you may hear me making references to things that you specifically are doing. No PowerPoint today. We're going to hop right in. We're going to start sharing screens. If you have any questions, feel free to hop on mic. We don't have so many people that I think we'll run into a problem. It's probably easier to do it that way than do it through through the chat function. So I am going to share my screen. We're going to hop right into my Chrome browser. So one of the very first things that I want you to consider doing is, if you haven't already, is actually set up Google Analytics. How do you set up Google Analytics? Very, very simple. I can show you this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this instead. So this is marketingplatform.google.com/about. Okay. You're literally going to end up signing into the Google Marketing Platform, creating your own account. If you have a web developer that has built your website, if somebody else has done this work for you, there is a very good chance they have already done this and you might just need access to it. Oftentimes that's kind of what ends up happening. I know here in the office, Bonnie does a lot of the website building, and Bonnie's the one that has all these reports that are coming to her, whether it's analytics or Google Search Console and things like that. And it could be that you just weren't set up with access to it, or it's just being sent to them, because a lot of this information is for them or for your web developer to make changes. Really, it's this simple as well. Right? Get started with analytics. So you go to google.com/analytics, do one of the following. You either create an account, which says, and there'll be a button that says start for free, or if you have one, you can sign into your account. It's really that simple. What's Google Marketing Platform? Why do I suggest this? Because look at everything that comes with Google Marketing Platform. Okay. Display, Video 360, Campaign Manager, Analytics. There's all kinds of stuff that's in here that includes your analytics. So this is why I always kind of say, go here and get started. In case you ever want to really start playing around with the rest of it, this is where you start. Why do this before you do anything with Google Search Console? Again, simply put, this gives you the ability to track some more information, and what you end up doing is you kind of end up linking both accounts anyway, and it gives you a better concept. How do you get started with Google Search Console? It's really as simple. I'm not going to go through it. It's really as simple as Google Search Console, like Google Search Console. Go search for it, set up your account. When you get here, right, we have CatScope Communications here. You literally will go to add property, add your website. You'll have to verify it and that kind of stuff. But that's how you get started. So it's not super complicated. I'm not going to run through it that way. If you have any questions about it or you can't do it, send me an email and we'll do our best to help you out. But once you're up and running, this is something that you end up looking at here. Okay, so this is the overview. This is the homepage, and this is admittedly kind of underwhelming. This doesn't intrinsically give you all of the information that you're hoping to get and all of this stuff that you're like, well, how does this help me? I mean, this is great, right? It shows me my performance. I've had 144 clicks in the past few months. That's great. It tells me on my website I have 5 pages with errors. I have 97 valid pages. So this is important. This is something that Google Search Console will do. So just quickly, this tool will do things like really basic stuff. It's going to confirm that Google can find and crawl your site. So for example, my 5 pages that I have errors on, really what that's saying is Google can't find those. So I hope those aren't important to you because Google has no idea where they are and Google isn't indexing those pages. And so it gives me that opportunity. So if I go into that, and I will in a minute, it's what they call soft 404s. So it's saying basically I can't find this page. And if I can't find it, I obviously can't drive traffic to it. So that's something to think about. You can then, once you fix it or believe you fixed it, you can ask them to do what's called re-indexing, which is they can start searching for it again. One of the things that I really want to work on today with you, and I want to go through our stuff and show you all this stuff, is we're going to look at search traffic. And we're going to look at what people search for, what they see, right? Which page of CatScope Communications website they see while they do it. And then I'm going to talk to you about what does that mean to you and what changes do you need to make, because it's going to show you really, really interesting information once you understand how to look at it. Google Search Console can do all kinds of stuff for you as well. It's going to send you alerts if there's a page that's broken, if you have a mobile connectivity issue, if you have anything like that. It's going to send you, hey, these pages aren't working. You got to fix this stuff. Like this isn't working. There's lots of really, really interesting things that way. So there are reports upon reports upon reports here. This, depending on what your comfort level is not meant to be a here's your massive, massive, overwhelming to-do list. This is meant to get you thinking about whatever you want to accomplish within your own marketing budget and marketing concepts and whatever product it is you're seeking to promote more. So I'll use, when I talk about us at CatScope, I'm going to use the idea of e-commerce a lot, especially obviously with a pandemic and things like that. We'd like to drive more people to setting up online stores and things like that. So you're going to hear me talk about that a lot. So that's a product that obviously we would like to feature, but this is going to really, this is going to give you the starting point for how am I doing? Why am I not getting the traffic I thought I'd get? I've built these pages. I'm not getting traffic here. Maybe there's a change I should make. And this is going to help you start to kind of determine whether there's a change. It's giving you information. At the end of the day, we spend money, we pay somebody to build this website, we build it ourselves, we put our own sweat equity in, we can't figure out why we're not getting any sales from it. This is going to be some of that information that's going to show you perhaps why you're not, okay? So very quickly, over here on the left-hand side, we've got overview and performance. Well, what's performance? Well, let's click away on performance here. And performance is literally the numbers, okay? So CatScope Communications, here are the numbers. So this is a web search type. If, and this is very important right away, if you have built e-commerce and you think people might be searching for images because they want to see that pair of shoes, the flowers, the sweater, whatever it is you may be selling, you can change to image search. Okay, and you can get information as to how people are finding you with regards to whether they find you through a web search, an image search, a video search, or a news search. Okay, very, very important. You can also go to compare. So you can compare web versus image. All of these things are here. Why is this important? Well, and we at CatScope Communications I'd love to tell you image search is super important to us. It's not. I will show you something funny here if I can make this work. If I go, so there's my image search, and I've got, if I go to my last 12 months, this is something when I was doing my research for this, it kind of made me laugh. So here's an idea, right? Again, we're not a heavy image search kind of company, so our click-through rate is pretty low at 0.3. We've had 11 total clicks. But look at this. Here's the important one, right? Toby James model. Obviously, I'm not a model. I have no idea why that's coming up. But that's one of the weird image searches that are popping up where it's flagging with Cats Cove Communications. But we're going to go back to web search here. We're going to work on a 12-month thing. And we're going to take a look through our 12 months of Google Search Console. Tons of stuff here. 15,000 impressions, 600 clicks, an average click-through rate of 4%. Please don't ask me what a good click-through rate is. This is an overall for all of our searches, for all of our websites. It has a lot to do with your individual stuff, okay? Our average position in Google is 43rd. That's for all of our searches. So that includes really broad topics as well, like the idea of just e-commerce and stuff like that. But here's the most, here under performance, here's what people are looking for. So they're searching for Cats Cove Communications, Cats Cove Communications, again with an apostrophe this time, Cove Communications. Greg McNally, so Kathy's father, is actually coming up with clicks. This is all based on clicks right now. Blogs about cats, Kathy James, website designer near me. All of these things are popping up in our search. I'm going to talk about why all of this is important in just a moment. But first of all, what I want to do is I want to go to the next thing. I want to go to our URL inspection. So we can actually go here and we can check any link that we have within our website, and we can go up here in this top search bar and we can put it in. I'm not going to do it right now, in part because it actually takes a minute to kind of run through it all. And as some of you guys have seen, unfortunately, when we are zooming at the same time, it doesn't always. Here, let's just do it this way. It doesn't always, we're gonna churn for a minute, so we're not gonna do it there. But if you want to inspect any very, very specific, so catscovecommunications.com/our-team or something like that, we could do it there as well. What does all this mean? So here's indexing. Indexing means we have crawled your website. So this was last, so Google has last crawled our website on February 26th, okay? It was primary crawled by smartphone, right? So which user agent type generated this data? So this is ideally, this is what it looks like on a smartphone is what we're looking at here. And these are all of our known pages. So we have 97 valid, right? We have 5 with an error. And it just gives you an idea right away. And why is this important? This is important because this tells you immediately those pages of your website that Google has no idea exist, that you know you've built them. You know they're there, your web developers created them, but for some reason, they're not indexing. And when I say not indexing, it means Google can't find them. Google doesn't know they're there. If Google doesn't know you're there, you don't exist, which means nobody will ever find that new page. Okay? One of the ways, if you haven't done this already, to ensure that Google understands all of these things, is you submit what's called a sitemap. Okay? I'll go through, I'm not going to go through a sitemap or how to submit a sitemap perfectly and properly today. Again, a Google search will allow for you to figure this out. But basically what you need to do is you need to create a map. You need to give the search engine an idea as to what your website looks like. You need to let it know where to go find things, right? So this is what we did. So last submitted August 7th, 2020, okay? That was the last time we submitted a sitemap here. And it lets Google know what's out there and what's available and what's kind of kicking around. Okay, those are some of the things that we're looking for. There's lots of stuff down here as well. So there's links, there's settings. We're not going to go into all the legacy tools and reports right now because legacy means it's frankly older stuff that we don't need to necessarily go through. Security and manual actions, again, we can go into, we can check here, find out if you have any security issues. It's not the best example because we don't have any right now, but obviously you want to know if you do. So again, this is an opportunity to jump in and start looking at this stuff. The last thing that we've talked a lot about SEO, we've talked a lot about various other ways to get found online, including Google My Business and things like that. So there is this button down here at the bottom called links. And so quite simply, this tells you how many external links we have. Okay, so links from outside your property to your property. So who has put your website on their website? This is the most common link that we have linked from somewhere else. Makes sense. It's our homepage, catscovecommunications.com. It's the only one outside of catscovecommunications.com, our team. This is the beauty of it. If you click on that link, it tells you who's linked to you. To be very, very clear, I have no idea what these are. I haven't investigated them. I have no idea who's linking to Cats Cove, our team. I don't know who Glue's Business is or Madvix or anything. It's written down in that we've got to go investigate it because I want to make sure it's not linking to something, or it's not somebody linking to us that we don't want. But that's what we're looking at there. Here's the interesting part. This is the main one, right? 456 incoming links from 38 linking sites. So I only have 38 other businesses that are out there right now that have decided to link to me. But it's really important because the way Google looks at it is, but you have 456 incoming links. Well, what does that mean? Well, let me show you just very quickly. If I click on the home page. So this is a business here in the town of Perth, the Plaid Cow. We built their website for them. They have 261 links. Well, what does that mean? Again, you can really start diving into all this stuff. On every page of their website, including through their online store and things like that, and some of the stuff they sell, we have our name at the bottom of that page. So that's a way for us that we can make sure we have many, many links that are out there. So we have it on their homepage and their about page and their contact us and all of these things, and including online store. Why is this important? I know this applies to me and not necessarily you because we're building websites here. But this shows you all of the places that you exist out there, all of the places that are linking to you that are out there. It's a great resource because remember, if you go back and you think about, for those of us that attended the SEO one, backlinks, which is what we're talking about here, are a massive, massive, massive. It's the number 3. I'll make sure I'm showing that properly. It's the number 3 indexing thing that Google uses for your own search engine optimization. So it's super, super important. Here's the other thing. Google also really cares about top linked pages with regards to your internal links. On your website, you want to be keeping us in a spider web, for lack of a better term. So we link to our own blog a bunch of times on our website. From clients, these are the pages on our website that we link back to over and over and over again. So whenever we say, for example, do you want to, if it's in a blog and it says, want to learn more about this topic, get in touch with us. Well, it links to our contact page, those kinds of things. Okay. It's just something, and you can listen, you can hop up here and you can export your external links and you can go through it one by one. This is a great opportunity to figure out how many places online you exist, because we talk about backlinks, or we have talked about them. Maybe you've heard about them, maybe you haven't, right? This is the opportunity to really jump in and figure out where you are, okay? I'm going to go back to performance. So using Cats Cove as an example here, because each of us are obviously different, and I can't search on your website, for example, for what people are searching for and things like that. But using Cats Cove as an example here, I want to show you how you can start using Google Search Console to learn some things about how people are interacting with your website. So again, this is the last 3 months. 4.48, right? 4,400 total impressions. So an impression is anytime a link kind of popped up, and anytime it popped up in, again, in this case, a web search, not an image search, just a web search. This is how many times somebody clicked on you. Very simple. This is the, right, this number divided by that number, 3.2%. 3% of the people that see us click on us. And we rank about 50th on average when people search for these terms. So here are the queries that are coming up. Cats Cove, Greg McNally. You can search here. You can find out what pages are the most seen. So our homepage is the most seen. Our team is next. This one. Anyone remember the Google My Business webinar? Wasn't that long ago. This is our Google My Business link. This is the one that's getting a ton of traffic and we're getting tons of impressions. So it's really, really useful, right? When I click on, and this is the beauty of Google Search Console. There are levels upon levels upon levels. So if I want to click on this link, the Google My Business link that I have, and this takes me to this page and it tells me over the last 3 months, 268 people have seen my Google My Business page and I have 17 clicks on it. Well, that's great. It told me that on the other page. But if I go solely to queries here, it actually tells me why people are finding me on that Google My Business link. So in this case, 59 are, right, searching for Cats Cove, 15 are Cats Cove, Cats Cove, Cats Cove, different versions of Cats Cove, right? Always drives Kathy nuts that people don't always put the apostrophe in. Here's an important one, website designer near me. Somebody searched for a website designer near us, and we got a click from it, which is great. If you want to know when that person searched, again, you can keep going into your levels. You can find out, okay, this person searched, right, Sunday, December 6th, and it popped up. I can find out what they searched on. It's lots of interesting information. I'm not saying you need all this. I'm showing this to you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to use some of this information here shortly, okay? I get it. I'm just, right now, I want you to understand this information is out here. This is completely overwhelming a lot of the time. I'm going to teach you how to use some of this information and how to then make changes to your website that are going to be important to you, okay? So we're going to go back here again. We're going last 3 months. We're looking at all of this kind of fun stuff. So a lot of this stuff is great, right? This is sorted by clicks. This is all great information. It doesn't really tell me what changes I want to make right now, though. One of the ways that we can start figuring out what kind of changes we want to make is, what if I go here and I sort by impressions over the last 3 months? This actually tells me something really interesting, because this is showing me where I've been popping up. But if you'll notice, these are the most impressions I've got, but you'll also notice I'm not getting any clicks. I've got nothing. There's no actual traffic, or frankly, let's be crass about it, revenue that's coming from any time somebody finds me for these things. So when you sort by impressions, and it tells me that, okay, I keep popping up when somebody searches for getting found online. Okay, I keep popping up for boutique marketing. Why boutique marketing? Well, we've often called ourselves a boutique marketing firm. Just means a small firm. However, if any boutique owners are out there, you might be searching for somebody who can help you market your boutique. So I'm popping up for that. We talked about the idea of backlinking. We're popping up there. How do I get found online, right? Somebody literally typing in going, I can't get found online. How do I get found online? Well, we're showing up. We've shown up 110 times in search. We've never gotten a click. Why is all this important to me? Well, let's go with, how do I get found online? Again, remember, layers and layers of information. So before, as we're scribbling and we're overwhelmed and we're trying to figure out how we're going to use this, I want you to pick one thing, right? So I want you to pick one thing here. So I'm going to work in, how do I get found online? How do I get found online over the last 3 months? I have 110 impressions and no clicks. Well, what's showing up for me in these, in this? Well, this is the website that's showing up. This is the address that's showing up. So now I start thinking about, well, what does this web page actually look like? So if and here's what I mean by that. You type in, how do I get found online? I'm 95th. You've been searching. You're 10 pages into your Google search at this point to go find me on average. You see me, but you're still not clicking. Well, what does my meta description say? when this link shows up in your search history, what is it actually saying? Why am I not converting you at this point? Why is this not working at this point, for example? Well, if you go to my Getting Found Online page, it's a good chance that I just don't have anything in there that wants to make you click on it, wants to make you actually take action at that point. And so it becomes really, really important to me that I'm going, if people are seeing it and people aren't clicking, why aren't people buying? So for those of you that are in traditional, I'm in the service-based industry, right? So it's a little different. For those of you that are traditional retail, and if you see somebody that basically is window shopping you, for lack of a better term, so you have 110 window shoppers and nobody buys anything, you have to start considering, why aren't they buying that product? Everyone sees the product. Why aren't they buying the product? What is it about that why is it they're not coming into my store? Because really that's what we're talking about in a traditional sense, is this person has literally walked past your storefront. They've looked inside, they get an idea that you sell what they want, but you haven't been able to convert them yet. You haven't changed their mind that you're worth coming in to visit. Now, online's a little different, obviously, in that there's all kinds of different choices that are out there. When you see my website online, you see it juxtaposed to two different kinds or two different things. I'm sandwiched between two other websites that are also popping up for how do I get found online. And so it's not exactly that way. But this is what I need you to think about when you again you think about, so what page does this take me to? It takes me to Getting Found Online. What's on that page? Why is that page not converting? What copy do I need? What meta description do I need? What H1 heading do I need to change the idea that people are clicking through? I'm using SEO terms. It's stuff we covered in the last webinar. Meta description literally just means page description. So if I go to just bear with me here. I'm going to pop up a new tab and I'm going to show you what meta description is for those if we're not sure what we're talking about. So I'm going to go CatScope Communications. This is my meta description. Okay. When I think about CatScope Communications Getting Found Online, this is the meta description that popped up for those 110 people who saw me. These people saw the website online, and this is what they read when they saw us. It says Getting Found Online, CatScope Communications. It takes consistent marketing and SEO knowledge to build your online presence and get you found on Google. Well, pardon my language, but no shit. Of course it does. You already knew that. That's why you were searching. I need to change that to something like, at Cats Cove, we can help you get found online and increase traffic to your website. That's far more likely going to get a click from a business owner as they're searching for it. So for those of you that are in retail, we've talked about this before with regards to, again, I don't know if they've changed it yet or not, but I'm going to show you how a meta description can be misleading. So I'm going to pick on the Port Mississippi Mills Youth Center here again. Picked on them last time. So this is a youth center for 12 to 18-year-olds in a little town near me called Almont, Ontario. And this is their meta description. It talks about jewelry. It's a misleading description of what's actually going to be found on that page. So you need to make sure on each of your pages, every time you upload an item to your e-commerce, every time you make a change to your website, that this corresponds with what people are searching for. Why? Well, because even if it does correspond with what they're searching for, like it does with mine here, which is great, it still wasn't enough to get anyone to click on it. And at the end of the day, let's be honest, folks, that's kind of what we're talking about, right? We're talking about how do I, like I said, let's be crass. We're talking about how do I monetize this? How do I get more? How do I get more money? How do I get more customers? How do I get more phone calls? more traffic. So Google Search Console, if we go all the way back here to the beginning, can give me an idea that not just, right, oftentimes what we think is we make an assumption that we're just not being found. Well, that's not the case. I got found 110 times in the last 3 months for this topic. I just never convinced anyone to buy. I never convinced anyone to click, to go through and look at this. Now, this is based off the information, again, that, I'm going to go back to queries here, that Google Search Console is giving me. This is based on clicks and impressions and all of this fun stuff. But what if I want to change my strategy? So let's say you're a business out there, and I don't know all of your businesses, let's be clear, but I do know that many of us have changed how we're doing business or what we're selling or different products. And even if you haven't in the past year, you probably will in the future. You're going to take on a new product line. You're going to start offering a new service. You're going to do something else because your business changes, your business adapts. So again, at Cat's Cove, and I warned you, right, we're going to talk about e-commerce a lot here. So one of the things I want to learn is I want to figure out, well, how many people are already finding me for something like e-commerce? So I can go here under new, and I can say, here, let's change this first of all, the last 12 months, because it really gives a real sense over the pandemic, especially from my standpoint, what I want to see, right? I'm going to go new, and I can say, I want a new query. And this query, it can be exact, or it can contain, it can not contain, but I want any search that has displayed any one of my Cat's Cove Communications web pages, any search that had the word e-commerce in it. Now, it's funny, right? Doesn't seem like it's that many. But most importantly, I have 27. And they all came up for e-commerce website design in Ontario. And they all displayed this page, website design. If I go here, and I get very, very specific with my search, right? So that I can show you. Look at this. I know it's only 27 people that searched, but 27 people saw me. 27 people found me online for this specific topic. And every one of those 27 people didn't see anything in my description about e-commerce. So what does that mean? Well, it means it didn't match their search. So they blew right past me, which means I didn't get to, again, to be crass, make any money. I didn't get any inquiries about it. I didn't get anything that way. It's not to say it doesn't show up in other places, right? Here's e-commerce with a dash, okay? But that's not what I searched for, is it? I searched for it all one word. Website design, communication strategy. It does show other stuff, but you'll notice it's not there. And you'll notice, so this is a great example. So this is a conversation we had internally here where I said to Bonnie, and she may have already changed it, and it's just not popping up yet because it takes a minute for it to populate, but we're going to have to create a separate e-commerce site. So it will now say catscovecommunications.com/e-commerce. Well, why? Because then when the meta description says, we can help you get your shop online, we can help you generate online sales, the description matches what people are searching for now. That the goal of all of this is to change our click-through rate. In this case, obviously 0. It's not hard to change, right? Is to change that. So it's not even about Google Search Console. I want you to remember this, guys. Isn't necessarily about only about, I should say, getting you found online more. Getting you found online is half the battle. Getting people to interact with you online is the other half of the battle. So when you think about it that way, so I'm going to get rid of the query here. if you really deep dive into this, over the past year, we have shown up, it's the actual number, 14,751 times in a Google search at Cats Cove Communications. From that, 621 people clicked on what they saw. Now, could be that we showed up and somebody else was, right, somebody else above us was offering a better deal or seemed more attractive. Could be the person underneath. Could be you hate cats, so you're not going to click on our business. There's 1,000 different reasons, and I get it. But at the end of the day, it actually shows me that there's probably work we can do. And that e-commerce example is a great example where when you search for e-commerce online and you can't find me, or when you do find me, it doesn't match the description. It's like walking into one of your restaurants, one of your businesses, assuming because of what you have on the outside, right? I Google formal wear near me, okay? And I end up at Conway's Menswear in Perth here. And imagine walking in and going, oh, they don't have any formal wear. Or when I get to your storefront, more importantly, you don't have formal stuff in the window. So it makes me go, well, I guess it could be in the back. It's probably not in the back. And I don't really want to walk in if it's not there. So in a traditional sense, the impression was me looking at your storefront on the street. The click-through is when I walk through the door. You never got the click-through because I never walked through the door. You need to make sure that what's in your window, your meta description here, matches your search history or matches what people are searching for. It's a lot. And I want to be clear. I'm aware that it's a lot. I'm aware that what I'm talking about can really be an overwhelming concept because you're kind of going like, Toby, I gotta change all of this stuff. Maybe. I mean, listen, if you had somebody else build your website for you, I would go to them and I would say, how do you make sure that this stuff matches? Because oftentimes what happens is when you do an SEO audit, you'll get duplicate meta descriptions. So what do I mean by duplicate meta descriptions? I mean, if I just go back to Cats Cove Communications, if every one of my web pages said this, Cats Cove Communications is a digital marketing agency specializing in digital media, website design, e-commerce, and online marketing based out of Perth. But it said that as well when you arrived at e-commerce or Instagram or how to grow your business with search engine optimization. It doesn't match up. The window doesn't represent why I'm there. And so it's something that I want you to think about. I want you to go through. Now, I'm not saying go through every one of these impressions, every one of these clicks, every one of these things. That's not the conversation I'm looking to have today. I'm not looking to give you an unenviable task list. This is not meant to stun you into submission where you're going, but I just don't want to do this. I just don't want to do this at all. I am suggesting whether it's 12 months, 3 months. I mean, listen, I'll take off 12 months and I'll go to the last 7 days. Okay. And this is my total impressions and my total clicks over the last 7 days. And if I go down here and I just go to impressions again, because that's all I care about right now. Look at that. SEO quick download, search engine optimization strategy, getting found online. These are all things that we are showing for on Google. So when I go to SEO quick download or here, securing a search engine optimization strategy, let's use that one. It's showing this post about a secure website. Okay. So one more time. Let's see what comes up when I Google this, secure website. Here it is. Toby explains how having a secure website for your business can increase lead generation and improve your search engine, probably optimization. Do you think that's what that person was looking for? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to say, but it's something I have to then think about going, well, should we have changed that? If this is what's coming up, are we giving people what they're looking for that way? So again, if I go here and I just go impressions, SEO quick download, let's see. And to be honest with you guys, I'm doing this in real time. I have no idea where this stuff is going. So it's a post, quick, 14 things to do with every blog post to increase your SEO free download. So it makes sense why it was coming up that way, but nobody wanted my free download once they got there. So I'm willing to bet my meta description didn't actually entice anybody to click here. So some of the things that you could think about if you want to increase click-through rate, your meta description can say sale. I mean, one of the things that we talked about is we talked about here was maybe under website design or e-commerce, we add the word sale in our meta description. Probably going to get your attention, might get a click-through rate, right? Might increase the click-throughs that way. Lots of different ways to do it. This is important stuff, right? There's lots of information here. This is not eating a whale. This does not need to be, how do I take it all on today? How do I create this today? How do I change all 178 pages on my website today? That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is thinking about what your goals are, what your marketing goals are, thinking about what it is that you want to drive traffic to, what you think people are searching for, and seeing whether or not it matches up. Because again, it's great to generate traffic. It's great to generate all these impressions. That's wonderful. That's magnificent. But if we're not getting clicks, that's a problem. So again, I'm going to go back to images here. So I think quite a few of us that are here potentially have an e-commerce site. Well, this is really important, right? I mean, again, it's funny. Here's the last 7 days. Image search, right? Just image, and hardworking ant working hard, the ant in the grasshopper. So if I go here, for some reason, this is taking people to an image. Now, again, ant or the grasshopper, how to prepare for this winter. So this was a blog post that we wrote before the pandemic, I believe. And if I go here, oh, I don't want any, I want ant. There we go, showing results for, and then I go to an image search. This is what they're getting. They're getting this. This is the first one. So there, I just changed this where this is now an image. This is what we're looking for, okay? It gives you an idea what people are seeing. It gives you an idea how people are viewing your website. That's what Google Search Console can do. It's not something you need to monitor daily. It's something that if you're going to make changes to your website, you want to make sure that you're making adaptations that are going to allow you to benefit in this case. I'm going to take a breath here. I've given you a lot of information, and it's around stuff that we're not comfortable with traditionally. I don't want to put words or thoughts in your mouth. Are there any questions about this? Anything that, I mean, it could have been 35 minutes ago I brought it up. Bring it up again, hop on the mic and ask away, and I'll see if I can answer it.
Toby,
Yes.
it's Mike here. Just
Yeah,
a
Mike.
little summary. Some of my takeaways from your presentation this morning is, I mean, besides the very basics of getting found, that I'm really looking at this as a tool for, I mean, I'm a tech guy, so one of the things I first popped onto is I'm seeing errors, okay? But aside from that, I'm looking at this as a tool to try and convert impressions to clicks.
You got it. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, impression. We always think of search engine optimization, of any search kind of strategy, as how do I get in front of people, and that's absolutely the first thing you need to make sure you're doing, is that you're showing up. But it's such a noisy world online right now. We need to ensure that again, back to, we'll get rid of this. go to all, that this meta description is exactly what we think people want to see. So Mike, so you're a tech guy, you're NP Media, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so just for the group, quickly, what do you do? Like, I mean, tech guy's a broad term, right? So
Yes, yes, it is.
it's me being a communications guy, right? So it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, top of the resume says I fix anything, but
There you go. Okay.
I do have some specialties. We're a small office equipment based company where I service everything from little printers, big printers, fax machines, computers, networking, video surveillance,
Right.
digital signage, that
And
sort of stuff.
and not knowing anything about your website. So when you talk about moving from being seen to converting, if every page of your website, for example, just said "I fix everything," versus right versus just for example, and I understand you're giving me the elevator pitch on it, right? But versus NP Media / printer, NP Media / networking, NP Media / right, and
Yep.
each of those had a very specific description that was like, here's why I'm the right guy for to fix your network. Here's why I'm the right guy to fix your printers. Here's why I'm the right guy to fix your so on and so forth. Each of those, I mean, and let's think about what we're talking about. I'm not looking for my click-through rate here to go, now this is zero, this is a bad example in the last 7 days, to go from 4% to 50%. That would be amazing. 4% to 6% means significant amount of money to me. Right? I mean, like 2% more click-through means 10 more inquiries. Well, if I can convert those inquiries, I'm now talking, a few $1,000s, thousands of dollars perhaps. That's what we're talking about. You're absolutely right. Like you got to get people in your store, back to my point. So that's what I'm talking about here. Yeah, absolutely. And this is we've talked about search engine optimization in some of our other webinars, which is great. And we talk about meta descriptions, we talk about all this, but this is now where you go, oh, that's why it's important, because everyone sees my link and nobody wants to interact with me. How do I change that? Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else? Okay. There's a ton of stuff in here. And again, I'm not expecting I'm not expecting you to all run through this and figure out exactly what you're doing. One of the things that they do I want you to see very quickly is, this is a great example. So this was my January performance on Google search. Okay. And when you sign up, if you haven't signed up for it, you'll get emails like this. So 17 pages of first impressions, right? 54 clicks, web, right? Again, impressions for web, not image in that case. Content achievements, right? So these are the ones that are starting to get more clicks, right? Top growing pages. So it does send you little snapshots as well, where you can monitor this stuff. So if you have a very specific kind of goal where all you really care about is growth, well, then this is a great little snapshot that they send through monthly, right? How do people find you? Cats Cove Communications, Cats Cove, top performing queries, learn about your audience. Most people are searching on desktop, mobile, tablet. You can click here for full reports, and all it does is it takes you back into this kind of stuff, right? Google search type, web, image, video. It's all here. It's all interesting. One of the things that I want to make sure that we aren't dismissing. So if you attended our Google My Business webinar, we talked about the idea of a direct search versus an indirect search. And so for somebody like Mike, we'll use Mike as the example. If somebody searches for NP Media, that is what's called a direct search. And it generates traffic, and that's wonderful. But that's somebody that already knew Mike, and this guy named Mike was here. I think this was the company name. I can't remember exactly how to get his phone number or any of that stuff. So I just search for him. But if I search for printer repair or networking specialist near me, those kinds of things, that becomes an indirect search. Why am I bringing that up here? Well, no, not actually around Google My Business as much as that it's important. What I actually want to talk about is the idea that you can get an indication here as well as to how strong is your brand. Listen, at the end of the day, When I sort by impressions, it's really important to me that I realize this stuff, these 4 here, aren't getting any traffic. And by traffic, I mean clicks. They're getting eyeballs. That's great. When I go to clicks, I realize that I'm getting tons of clicks from people searching for Cats Cove Communications. So what do I take away from that? The same thing that I want you to take away from that in a situation like this. Your brand is really strong, okay? In this case, it means that people are searching for your company, right? I need you to understand that if your brand is really strong, people are going to search for you. That's a direct search, and that's fantastic. Otherwise, it's not something that people will be searching for directly. We're fortunate. Cats Cove has a strong enough brand, at least locally, that people are going, okay, how do I get in touch with Cats Cove? I wonder if they do this. I want to go check them out. The part where we can grow the brand is here. Getting found online, boutique marketing, right? How to motivate your coworkers. That's an interesting one. That's based on a couple of blogs that we've written. The idea of backlinking. This gives me an indication as to this is what people are searching for that we may not be serving as well. So this is now stuff where I'm going, oh, how do I continue to increase my brand? Well, I can then take this information and start creating content around the idea of backlinking. Just the simple concept of getting found online, things like that. So this is important stuff from my end that I look at in those regards as well. I hope that's helpful, guys. It's a different thing. It's something that most of us aren't even aware exists, this Google Search Console stuff. But as Mike summed it up well, this is about ensuring that you are converting. This is about taking all of that hard work you're putting into everything else and making sure you haven't lost them at that last step. When they walk up to the proverbial window of your shop, of your restaurant, of your business, that you haven't lost them at that point where they then go, oh, maybe this isn't what I want. Never mind. I showed up for the wrong thing. Just going to pop up here. So hopefully that's helpful, guys. Hopefully that's information that you can use. It's a lot, but really what you want to start doing is you want to get set up. If nothing else, get set up solely to watch these, to be able to track what's working, what people are searching for, your kind of stats, your Google Analytics. There's no point doing all the other work from the other webinars if you're not going to be able to actually convert on some of this stuff. And that's that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it, I guess, for lack of a better term. So I hope all that's helpful. If you guys have any questions, Kathleen, I did get your note. So I will be in touch this afternoon. But if there's anything else that you guys need, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll talk soon, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Toby.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Take care, guys.